The episode kicks off with a series of bills and money-related news that push Jake to the edge. I mean, we've all been there, right? But instead of just getting upset, Jake goes full-on snap mode. This causes a blood vessel to burst in his eye.
Got it, my eye! Oh, get the camera.
Look at that eye. Stress is not your friend, folks. And to help the family relax and unwind, Helen decides it's time for a camping trip. And let me tell you, Daria and Quinn aren't having it. They try their best to come up with sneaky plans to avoid the wilderness, but their efforts are in vain. Bottom line, the Morgendorffers are going camping, whether they like it or not. So, off to the forest they go. Meanwhile, our alternative sibling duo, Jane and Trent, prepare to embark on their own adventure, the dreaded Lane family reunion. Jane absolutely despises the idea, but despite her protests, her parents force her to go because they're not too keen on mixing with the rest of the Lane clan. As luck would have it, they end up sitting next to their Aunt Bernice on the plane and, unsurprisingly, accidentally insult her. Talk about awkward. Once they get there, they find themselves stranded without any means of transportation to the house. So, what do? They have to trudge through the wilderness on foot. When they finally make it to the reunion, things go from bad to worse for Jane. She's put on the spot and forced to spill some embarrassing news about her sister Summer and her kids to a straight-up nosy relative. And as if that's not enough, an elderly grandmother loudly insults her. Stings. Meanwhile, Trent meets his Uncle Max, who's not afraid to make his thoughts known. Loud and drunk, he declares his love for Trent simply because he sees him as a fellow bum. I mean, at least Trent's got someone who appreciates his laid-back lifestyle, I guess. Helen and Jake are feeling nostalgic, blissfully reminiscing about their past camping trip. Jake, in particular, is totally blissed out as he starts talking about his childhood and his late father, also known as Mad Dog Morgendorffer. Now Jake's rage totally makes sense. It's nighttime at the Morgendorffers' campsite. The four of them entertain themselves by telling scary stories, though the impact is pretty off. Jake only tells stories about childhood camping with his father that just end up leaving them all bored. Helen tries to tell a vampire story, but Jake silences her from saying the more intimate details. Daria and Quinn are left totally unsatisfied. Quinn tells a fairy tale mixed with fashion commentaries that isn't scary except to anyone but her. Daria is able to shake the general boredom as she tells the story of Hansel and Gretel, which she fills with explicitly gory details that cause the rest of the family to get sick. After the gross storytelling session, the Morgendorffer sisters find themselves in the tent, reminiscing about the past. It's a rare moment of bonding and reflection amidst the chaos of their lame camping misadventures. The next morning, the family sets off for a hike. But things take a turn for the absurd when Helen and Jake start babbling about life, adulthood, and eventually start hallucinating. Daria and Quinn are left scratching their heads, trying to make sense of this trippy situation. It's like being stuck in a bad acid trip, minus the drugs. Daria and Quinn try to make sense of the situation calmly and objectively, but not before Quinn also starts hallucinating and wanders off. I'm sorry, their eyes are really making me laugh. Daria quickly concludes that the three were under the psychedelic effects of the berries that Jake had gathered for breakfast. Geez, leave it to Jake's foraging skills to land the family in such a situation. Daria was the only one who had not eaten the berries, also referred to by Quinn as the glitter berries. She eventually finds Helen's cell phone, which she wasn't supposed to have taken, and dials 911. Shortly after, the family are rescued by a medical helicopter. Back in Lawndale, Daria and Jane have a laugh exchanging stories of their respective adventures. Daria recounts the weird camping trip filled with gory tales and hallucinations. Jane talks about her sleepless night at the Lane family reunion. Her and Trent just ended up leaving in Aunt Bernice's car. Just when you think the Morgendorffer camping excursion is over, a whopping $15,000 bill arrives for the helicopter evacuation. And you can probably guess what happens next. Cue the burst-out blood vessels. Jake unleashes his fury once again, this time in both eyes. And there you have it, folks. The Teachings of Don Jake serves up a camping trip filled with failed scary stories, psychedelic hallucinations, and eye-popping adventures. Stay tuned for our next recap, where we'll bring you more laughter from the world of Daria. Until then, remember, stay away from those glitter berries.